What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the YouTube Barber Academy. This is Mr. Eddie Barber, and today we are hitting you with a membership video. I don't got to worry about the views. I don't got to worry about the time it takes to do this, and I'm going to go through each and every step that I filmed that I got a good angle of. So just lock in, enjoy the cut, and thank you so much for being a member. Let's get it.
Cool? Remember last time? Yeah, we did.
I love how it grew.
You guys
back
remember
here.
that too, because I showed that where we cut the back real short, and we let it get longer gradually to the front.
But definitely, my main concern.
So what I'll do is I'll clean that part up, but I'll leave the front piece alone. I'll just blend it into that.
Yeah.
If you want to do that still, so that you still have that.
But yeah. Like I said, it grew in good. Just keep most of the length up at the sides. Do a low skin fade.
Okay. Let's get it.
I love how it grew in though.
All right, you guys. We're gonna throw on this next strip. I'm gonna go with the aqua. You gotta keep him clean because apparently he got called into work.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I reminded you.
Oh yeah.
All right, you guys, we're going to continue with the shootout. I'm shooting out the Rebels versus the Instinct right now. And I got my setback trimmer. If you guys didn't notice from my previous video, I talked about having a setback trimmer. Well, that's what I'm going to put this skin line in with. So let's get it. We want to stamp this line in because I want to make sure I keep everything with his hair is going to show every little mistake. So this trimmer is not it's not set the closest. It's meant for this purpose right here. Creating this line so I can keep a nice low fade. I could decide exactly where I want it by doing it this way, and that's why I'm doing it this way. So if you guys notice, when I come down with it, there's still a lot of hair. That's because I'm coming with the grain. So that's a little trick that I use to not cut too close and to not make this line more harsh than it needs to be. The more you angle your trimmer down like this, you're going to wind up cutting the hair closer. So I just kind of keep it out a little bit, and you see that it's not a very harsh line. If you flip it upside down, you're going to cut as close as possible. That's what I'm going to do, but I'm going to stop just before I hit that line. Yeah. This hair is thick, boy. One day I got to screenshot your appointment comment.
Oh, thick boy.
He always writes thick, boy. Not lying, too. Alright, you guys, on the back of his neck, I'm going to use the Rebel because it's nice and wide, it's fast, and it's going to cut this thick-ass hair down. But on the sides, because we're doing like a lower fade, I definitely need to have my Uno on deck. So I'm going to come up close to this line as I can. I'm going to start flicking out, and I might come down with the grain. So I told you that trimmer's set so far back that this is going to have a little discrepancy here, which is why I have my saber set really close, and you can see I'm going to be able to get that out. So if I do create a line, I have everything I need to get rid of it. No big deal. So now that I ran the saber, you'll see this will cut a lot smoother. I don't have a whole lot of space here. What's great about the Uno is it's an awesome little blending tool because it's just such a small blade that if I do have trouble back here, I can get right in them little spots. And I just like to have this part of the blend worked out before I get involved in anything else. And we're about to pick up those clippers here in a minute and get to business. But I just want to have all this worked out as best as I can. Because like right now with that hair being long, this will not cut. So it's not going to make a mistake. This was my favorite one for a long time.
Ooh, that one's cold.
You know, I just sprayed it.
Warmed me up a little bit.
In this step, the biggest mistake I see most students make is they're leaving the head too much and they're not keeping it flat. So yes, you see me leaving the head a little bit towards the top in an attempt to kind of soften that guideline. But on the other hand, you also see that I angle the clipper back down and make sure that I hit that flat length. It's very important that we hit every length. All of our guards are set up for us to succeed. But if you're tipping them in or they're tipping them out, you're going to wind up manipulating that length and you're not going to be able to get it. So before I go any further, I like to use a little bit of clipper over comb, especially with these Zuka combs. They're super thin. I could actually push this against the scalp and you could see it start to bend. It'll start to kind of make the shape and make the blend for me. And typically this is definitely going to speed up my process a little bit. You can hold the comb horizontal. You can move the clipper vertically. You can move across it a couple different ways. As long as you're tipping the comb off the head and relatively creating the angle that you want, I mean, there's not really exact science to this. This is more of an art, and I'm just kind of going through and seeing what each little step takes. Don't take too much. You can always go back and lift it out again, and little by little, you'll start to see that it'll conform to the head. It'll get pretty easy. This can be really great for like taking down the crown. Like this client, he doesn't like his crown being long because it just sticks up. His hair is like exceptionally thick. So with that being said, I know I can take the crown down a little bit. It'll reduce the amount of scissor work I have to do. It'll shape his scalp nicely, and I can leave the front a little bit longer because he kind of likes to have it sort of popped up in the front. The next move we're going to make is we're actually going to jump over to the number 1. I always start with this 2 clicks open, and the reason why I do that is because I want to see what effect it's really going to have. Of course, you can feel free to move it open and closed as you see fit afterwards, but that first little step, it's kind of like a tester step for me, and I'm really only using 2, maybe 3 teeth, and I'm going into that, and little by little, I'm letting my eyes kind of guide me to what needs to happen next. So we'll go through this with the 1. Eventually I'll open it. Eventually I'll close it. And then we're going to jump over probably to the half. And then we'll begin working on that skin line. We'll get that skin line out. Now that I got the half guard attached, the very first thing I'm going to do is open it only 2 clicks. And I'm going to do the exact same process I did with my 1 guard. It's going to begin with that 2 clicks, and then I might open it and I might close it as I see fit. But that first thing is just that tester step. Try to pay attention to the grain and do your best to go against the grain. You may even take a few steps kind of across the grain, and not typically with this type of hair would I move with the grain, but certain types of hair that might actually work too. Just trying to get the most that I can out of every guard, and I'm trying to stay careful. And here we go. It's time to get rid of this bottom line. So I actually have this entirely closed. I'm just using a few teeth little by little, and I'm just going to stay kind of in my lane, and I'm going to begin kind of clicking this open. And I literally will go 1 step at a time, especially when you have a client that every single mistake is going to show. I mean, his hair is super, super dark, and his skin is about as light as it gets. So it's going to just be like a backlight, and it's going to show every single little mistake. So in this case, even though it's a bit time consuming to kind of do it this way, I don't mind, because in the end, it actually saves me time. So little by little, I'll let my eyes tell me where I got to go, and I'm going to stay in my lane.
Okay, you guys, so you see how I'm getting down to this part of the blend where my electric shaver ended and stuff. That's where this setback trimmer really comes in handy. It doesn't cut super close. So I'm just going to kind of flick around at that bottom line, and it's really starting to come out nicely in the way I want it to. And you guys don't see me like overworking myself. Like, I have a tool that hits every length. I'm not worried about a harsh line. I'm not worried about nothing. So that's just one of those tools that a lot of people think they got to have their trimmer set absolutely as close as possible. Well, I do too with this one. So that's what this one is for. So like, if you see, I can knock out some really nice lines with this. This one can match with my electric shaver really nice. It's really important to me that I have 2 that are set up a little different. So I already ran through that step with my setback. Now I'm hitting this one with my rifle, my main arm. I call that one my side arm. Little by little, you start to buff out those parts that need more power than what the Rebel provides. And when I was doing the clip over comb, I'm talking about this is some thick hair. This is very rare that you'll see hair this thick. So I'm just telling you guys now that if it's a power for power, the Rebel has plenty of power. But that instinct is just so consistent. Very hard to pick a winner out of these 2, to be honest. Like on a per cut, feels good in my hands. It's a little bigger. It's not too big though. So I just hit that with the 1 1/2. I'm going to detail that with the 1 guard open, and now I'm just hanging like 1 tooth, 1 or 2 teeth. I know I could do a little bit more with some shear over comb, so I'm pretty much getting to the point where I don't want to overwork it either. I need to keep it dark up here. So we'll leave some detailing, and we're going to head over to that other side here in a second. I have a taper blade on this Instinct. I'm actually going to bounce back and forth, but the taper blade is just such a fun blade to work with. It's really good for this step. So this is typically what I would use to do the majority of my blend until I get down to that skin level, which you guys will see. I'll make that change in a second, but I'm going to first go through and kind of match up my back, because the last thing I want to do is when I show you guys each side, I'll leave the back like you know, I take a swipe here and a swipe there, and it can be easy for you guys to get confused about what to do in the back. So I want this to be a little more uniform of a step. So that's good because that creates a really soft upper line with a taper blade. And what's cool about the Instinct's a lot smaller. It's smaller, but it feels like it has some weight. It gives you some control too. And I feel like I can hold this in different ways. Like I'm literally holding it from the edge of my fingers. We'll do the same thing. Flip it over comb. I'm gonna grab my Zuka comb again. I'm just pushing it really hard into the scalp, lifting it off and just cutting what sticks out. Nothing difficult about this step. This is just saving me a couple steps with those upper guards, and it's gonna create my blend kind of for me. I love using these Zuka combs. Just makes it super easy to do that clipper over comb and kind of get me a couple steps deeper to the point where I just got to do like cleanup. That's what I want to have happen. You can hear listen to the motor speeding up. Listen to it. It's instant. I mean, so it speeds up when it encounters resistance, and it is just really quick about that. Now we know we want to cut his crown a little shorter, so I can actually kind of begin some of that right now. I'll tell you, I don't think there's any better machine for clipper over comb. This is just awesome to have something that can speed up like that. The blend, I can see I still got like a dark spot right there. Let's see if I can do anything with it. Being these combs are kind of thin, it makes it possible to kind of do that. But yeah, I think I got what I could get out of that. I'm gonna jump to my number one and begin my process. I'm gonna open it a little bit. I'm almost like tempted to try to use this guard higher than I want to, but experience has taught me to just kind of stay in my lane. So I'm trying to work about this thick at the most, and I'm not really trying to use all of this blade. So that's why like my first couple testers are with it halfway open, and then I'll close it or I'll open it kind of as I feel like I need to. This is always a tough spot in everybody's head because there's always a area of the head where it kind of dips in. And it causes like a shadow. It's not necessarily your haircut that's wrong or bad or whatever. It's just there's a shadow there. So you got to kind of almost cut that area a little shorter to cut that shadow out. And again, to just stay uniform here, we'll do the same thing. 2 clicks. Begin using the corner.
So basically what you're saying is my head's fucked up.
Well, everybody's head's got bumps, brother. I wish I had your hair, bro. You kidding me? Alright, you guys, we're on this line now. Now I do want to have the vapor blade, so I got that right here. And I'm actually going to start with it all the way closed, and I'm just using a couple teeth, just a corner. That's kind of how I like to start this and sort of see what effect that has. And as long as you kind of stay against the grain and find what angle to hold it on, you're going to be surprised how fast you do this, starting from the bottom and moving up. Begin bumping this open. Literally, I'm going to go one step at a time. So I'm going at a crawl here because I just know how easy it is with his hair to make a mistake. Like trying to get up in here with this step, you got to be careful, man. You take away some of this hair, you don't get it back, and that's going to be the end of it. So I'm going to just be real careful and step my way up at a crawl. Because this is starting to look good, you know, and the last thing you want to do is create extra work for yourself when things are starting to come together. The best part about using just one little piece of the blade is if you do make a mistake, it's very fixable, and sometimes it's completely unnoticeable. More often than not. A lot of you guys are probably there holding your whole blade flat, and that's definitely going to lead to issues. So same thing. I'm going to go one click open, just give myself a little bit of a cushion. I don't know how that looks on camera, but the line that I was working on is starting to come together real nice. Time to switch to the half guard. And the half guard should just about clean up this blend, I think, for the most part. Might use a little 1 1/2. Same thing with the half guard. 2 clicks open is where I like to start. And I'm laying it down early before I hit the hair I want to hit. And I'm almost going underneath it just to see what that does. I'm gonna take what that does, and the hair is gonna kind of guide my next move. Like if that got rid of my line or not, I'm gonna open it and close it a little bit now. Just using one corner of the blade. I got it all the way closed now. Now experience has taught me at this point it makes a whole lot of sense to switch to a taper blade. Especially because like this is coming together so nice, the last thing I want to do is make a mistake. So I'm going to switch back to the instinct with the taper blade on it. And now I'm actually going to throw the number 1 on. I'm going to open it. I'm going to open it all the way here. See if I can bust up some of this dark spot. Close it a little bit. Don't forget we do have shear over comb, so you don't have to force it with your clipper. If you're getting really close, it always makes sense to try some shear over comb. You got the hiccups, G?
Me?
Yeah.
I was like fixing my posture.
I thought you had the hiccups. Wait,
Maybe
not now.
I do. Maybe I do.
Not now. Got it fully open now. Just trying to be super careful here because the bumps in the scalp are going to create like some dark spots, and there's not a whole lot you can do about them if you get rid of them and patch a hole in there. So the last thing I want to do is have that happen. So I switch back to the 1. Let's see if I can reduce some of that dark spot. That is working. Realistically, the back part of the head could be the most challenging to do. Love it. Love it, love it. All right, let's hit this bottom line a little bit. Going back to my setback trimmer. Now's when I could really create that contrast and kind of sandwich that blend a little bit. I like what I got going on the top. I really need to make sure that I got this all the way down the skin, and then I got this bottom line buffed out nice to create that contrast that I'm looking for. So really showing my picture. It'll really show when he leaves. He'll be happy with this cut. It's that little secret weapon right here, man. Watch what you can do with this. You can literally tap down across any harsh line. You can get rid of it pretty easy with this tool. Links are in the description for every tool you guys see me using. If you want to save 10%, you use the code Eddie. I got my hitter trimmer. This one's set super close, just so I don't struggle when it's time to make these lines. A lot of times you guys are thinking, oh, the problems are up here. Like, nah, man. A lot of times the problems are right down low, right where your skin line was. You get that nice compression of the blend, you're going to have a nice smooth looking cut. Okay, so as far as like battery life goes between these two, the Instinct has the 4 hours of runtime, but so far I've done about 10 clients. I've split them about halfway, and neither of these Instincts are blinking, and nor is the Rebel. So the Rebels, even though it's 3 hours of runtime, the Rebel's holding up battery wise the whole day. I don't even have a charger back here. I literally just move these around on my stations, and that's it.
So when you're doing this shear over comb, I want you guys to pay attention to what I'm doing with my pinky on my left hand. Now, you're going to see that I anchor it and I kind of drag it up the side of his head a little bit. So watch this. The comb itself is resting on the back of his scalp. That's helping me anchor. So I'm doing as much as I possibly can to just retain control and stay anchored over this whole process. And these just allow me to kind of go into exactly where I need to go. My shears are from Shear Police. If you guys are interested in getting a pair, these are like some very inexpensive shears. They have sent me more expensive shears, but I actually really like these ones. They fit my hand nice, and they're just good. So yeah, I used to use a taper comb for this process, but the taper comb is still a little thick towards the bottom, and it wouldn't let me get all the way down to some of those lengths. That's why I really do like this Zuka comb. Like, this is definitely my favorite comb, both for cutting the top and especially for detailing. I use this like trimmer over comb. I can use this to make these really small, fine adjustments, and I could push this right into the scalp, and I bet you it's probably about what a half guard is, which is pretty awesome. So as long as you're keeping your shears over top of that comb and they don't accidentally slide underneath, you should be able to pretty much get out most problems with your shear over comb. And then we will go over to the texturizing shears. Like, when I've tried everything that I can do with it, I'm going to go over to the texturizing shears. Sometimes I'll lay them straight on the scalp and try to bust up some of that. You can also do this technique with your shears, but I try to stay away from my texturizing shears until the very end, because it's just so easy to wind up removing too much bulk in one spot, and then you wind up with some problems. So just being extremely careful in this step. You're very close to the end, and stay patient.
Oh yeah, very little, very thin. Sorry, thin and straight.
So what we're going to do here, because he wants it really thin and straight,
And you haven't done the top yet, right? No. Oh.
I'm going to make sure that I hold my trimmer really high up. I'm just going to tap a very tiny faint line. I don't want to let that bottom blade hit. I try to keep it like straight up and down the most that I can, so that when we're done, you've just got this really thin, fine line. Probably blocking you guys.
I have had a situation with the top of this guy's head a million times. I've cut him so many times right here. He's just got this area that's like really easy to cut, which is why I use the Uno to do the front line, and then I'll go back in with the razor afterwards. But I just want to make sure that I don't cut him. Remember, you guys seen that one video? It was kind of like a comedy where I said somebody snuck in and cut him. Well, I got news for you. It was me. I admit it.
When you have a client who's got as thick a hair as his, like before you cut the top, it makes actually like a lot of sense for you to just run your thinning shears through it. Get rid of some of that. It's going to help you manage the hair better. It's going to get rid of some of that thickness. Make your life a little bit easier. That's already a lot better.
Some guy at work, a customer I was helping out, thought I dyed my hair. It was so thick. He's like, "That's all real?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Bro, He's like one of the few people that I could use the Tomb 45 Onyx Black on for enhancements, and it looks like really natural on you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I never really. My girl never really. She's like, how did you grow your hair going to getting a haircut? Because like in the areas where I don't have hair.
So now I just want to make sure I use a little bit of Tomb 45 or really any shaving gel, but it's the one that I like to use a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line this up. I have the Essence razor from Titleist. This razor is pretty dope. And I'm just going to go through and do that. The next step I usually take is I take the shears across it and I just make sure that I got all those little hairs that stick up. When you get a hard part all the time, it's very easy to have all those hairs sticking up. And I'm not going to cover how to cut the top in this video, but you guys know that we have plenty of those videos where I've cut the top and I've showed you guys that. This is the left side, which I believe I did that with the Instinct. And then the right side, I mainly did that with the Rebel. Of course, we did jump back and forth a little bit. Really skinny line. And that's about it, man. So if you guys want to check out any of these Zuka neck guards, 20% off. The link will be below. And if you guys need anything else, the link is below. But thank you guys so much for being a member. And thank you for checking this video out. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.